everybody? Manny here once again. Welcome back to DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NFL and soon, very soon, the NBA as well. And I have a brand new video for you guys today. I'm going to discuss with you what are the best possible plays for us this week, week 4 of the NFL in the receivers position. But before I get started with that video, guys, man, I appreciate you guys drop a like. The likes are very, very important. It does show me that you appreciate what I'm able to do for you guys, putting in the work. I do the work anyway for myself because I'm a regular DFS player, but at the same time, since I started the channel, I felt that that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do a channel, is to be able to help those that don't have the time to look up this information and be able to narrow things down as far as making lineups are concerned. So I hope that this is beneficial to you, is good content to you, and if you do enjoy the content, I do appreciate you guys drop that like. It definitely helps with the rankings here on YouTube, and that's important. I really want to be able to boost up my videos up higher in the actual what they call the algorithms of the internet. Other than that, man, if this is your first time here and you've never been here before, man, welcome. I hope that you do enjoy. I do videos for the NFL pretty much throughout the whole week. I do one for each individual position, and I am planning to do the Thursday one starting this week, as well as I have a live show every Saturday night at 7 p.m. from about 7 to about 8:15, 8:30. I sit down and discuss the entire slate again, all the plays I gave you during the week, and if any other value has opened up due to injuries, coaches' decisions, whatever it may be over the course of the next 3 days. Today being Wednesday, the next 3 days with the practices, we'll be able to know more. So that's why that Saturday night show is very, very critical, and it's definitely perfectly, that is targeted definitely for those who are fairly new to DFS, or even the ones that have been around for a little while and still want to be able to get a little bit of insight or some information. Definitely should tune in for that. But you have to subscribe for that. So make sure you're a subscriber. Make sure you put on your post notifications, and that way you will not miss not only my videos during the course of the week for the NFL pertaining to the positions, but you also will be able to sit down with us and go over the actual slate Saturday night, where we go over the game situation, implied total games, what are the best games to target, if there's any game stacks, team stacks, injury report, like I said, and of course any value plays that may come up. So all that will be discussed during that 1 hour and a half show. So make sure you definitely subscribe. All right. I got OBJ up here. OBJ is the gentleman that I'm going to start with first. But the first things first, I like to always go over the 3 or 4 plays I gave last week. Last week I gave you 3 receivers for week 3, and it keeps me accountable as if I'm doing a pretty good job, not only for myself, because these players I target myself as well, and as well as giving those particular players to my viewers. Michael Thomas was my first guy last week. He had a fairly decent game, 17.9 FanDuel points, and he finished up with 25.9 on DK. So I would consider that a thumbs up. Definitely a good positive week for Michael Thomas. Then I had Mr. Hopkins for Houston Texans. He was the definitely thumbs down for the week. 11.6 FanDuel points, 14.6 DK points. Definitely at his price, I definitely needed him to be in that 18 or better range, and I was definitely expecting him to be in the 20 or better, but he did not quite get there. My next guy was Adam Thielen, and Adam Thielen, considering as bad as Minnesota played, he actually hung in there. They were playing from behind, so he definitely got a lot more opportunities. They took advantage of it, and I'm happy he did. He was in half of my lineups, just as well as the Tavius Murray, as well as the Minnesota defense, and they both let me down. But Thielen definitely came through, 17.5 FanDuel points and 27.5 DK points. So not too bad. 2 out of the 3 last week. I would definitely take that any day as opposed to 3 thumbs down. All right, let's discuss. So I had on the screen Mr. OBJ. He is the guy I'm definitely thinking about first this week. I like the matchup. I like his price at 8,600. His price is pretty high on DK on DraftKings. I'm not in favor of him on DraftKings at that price. There's definitely a lot of value, like I said earlier in the last video, as far as running back and quarterback this week. Last week I was targeting more the receivers and quarterbacks and paying down at running back. This week I kind of like the running backs, and I'm willing to pay down at receiver because I believe there's a lot of good value this week on the receiver position according to the matchups. So, but OBJ is the one stud that I like here in the top at 8,600. I mean, he has had 34 targets this year, 24 receptions, 271 yards. He hasn't gotten in the end zone, but I believe this is the week that he cracks that. He's averaging 13 fantasy points per game here and 19 on DK. He does have 20-point upside, which is very, very important. And I do love the fact that he got 2 100-yard games thus far out of the 3 games. He's also, last week, he had pretty much, there was 62 snaps by the Giants. He was in 59 of them. That is always important. And he also had about 20% of the touches. So he's getting the touches. He's in about 97, 98% of the snaps. So he's really, really involved with the team. Obviously, we do know that he is a very integral part of this offense. We need, guys, maximum pass protection for Eli Manning so that he can find Mr. Odell Beckham Jr. this Sunday and give the Giants a chance to at least stay close in this game. This is one game, I think, is the second highest implied total. Is at 50 at the current time that I last looked, 50. So, I mean, it should be pretty interesting. It's going to definitely be an offensive game. New Orleans comes in 30th in pass defense, giving up 337 yards per game and 10 touchdowns, which is tied with Pittsburgh for the most TDs given up to receivers this year. All right, 66.3 DK points, 2 receivers thus far this year per game, and 55.3 FanDuel points. That is the most in the NFL in both platforms. It's crazy. In the red zone, opponents are converting 77.7% of the time in the red zone against New Orleans. They have gone in there with about 3 opportunities, and 2 out of 2.5 times they come out of there with at least a touchdown. So 2 touchdowns and a field goal during those 3 opportunities in the red zone, which are that's a very, very good conversion rate. They're going to go up against the Giants, 17th in pass defense and pass offense, 232 yards per game, 3 touchdowns. And what I like is that, like I said before, I think the Giants will be playing a little bit behind in this game, and that's why I believe Odell Beckham Jr. And don't sleep on Mr. Shepard. I have my eye on Mr. Shepard as well. He may be a value play. He may be someone to consider here if you're not willing to play OBJ. Definitely Shepard. If they start defending Beckham pretty darn well in this game, you could expect some freeing up for Mr. Shepard to have a great game. So you definitely keep him in your radar as well. But I definitely love Odell Beckham here with that 20-point upside and possibly over 100 yards a game, and more than likely, and I really truly believe he's going to get his first touchdown of the year in this matchup. The next guy I'm thinking of, now obviously Thomas, Hopkins, they're in play. Julio Jones, he's questionable with a calf, but he's in a favorable matchup too. That is the highest implied total scoring game this weekend as far as in the main slate, Cincinnati and Atlanta. A.J. Green, keep an eye on him. If A.J. Green don't play, there's some guys there. We will discuss that in a moment. But my next guy, I'm going to come down in price, and I'm going to come all the way down to Mike Williams of the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I love the Chargers, period, in this matchup against San Francisco. The only thing is that, again, they're 10, 11-point favorites in this matchup, so definitely keep that in mind. I think in this scenario, it definitely pays off better for Melvin Gordon, who is a dual-threat back, that he can actually benefit from not only being in between the tackles and getting some rush carries, but at the same time able to get some receptions as well. But we're discussing here Mike Williams, man. Mike Williams has playmaking ability. I like the way he's playing. He's 6,300 here, and on FanDuel, he is actually on DK, he is only 4,500, man. So definitely of a great value here on Mike Williams here. He is going to get some targets. All right. He has 7 targets in the last game, 4 receptions, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He pretty much had 20 yards a catch, 22 fantasy points. So we know he's capable of getting 20, and we know he's capable of getting 20-yard, receptions. And he did that pretty much over here as well. 15, you could pretty much say here. 14 yards per catch here on 6 targets and 5 receptions in Game 1 against Kansas City. Now, granted, he did that 4 catches and 81 yards against a fairly good defense against the pass in the Rams. So that comes to show you his playmaking ability. I definitely like him. Those numbers are fantastic. We're looking at him, and he's averaging 14.1 FanDuel points and 16 DK points. As you can see there, it looks like he's shown that he can get 20. He did have a nice long catch. He's had 1 big catch this year, 42 yards. So he's capable again to get free and open himself up to get big yardage. In the red zone, he has had 3 opportunities, 3 targets at him. He's gotten 2 receptions, 30 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he has been very, very good in the red zone and in a minimal amount of touches. Only 3 touches, 2 catches, 30 yards, 15 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns. Not bad. Going up against San Francisco comes in 27th in pass defense this year, coughing up 288 yards per game and big number, 8 TDs. The 8 TDs is the 10th, is one of the top, I think it's 3rd most in the NFL for defense, 3rd most. That's a lot. They have also given up a big play too. 67-yard is the longest catch that they have coughed up on this defense. So we know they're capable of blowing big plays here to big play receivers. So I can see Mike Williams having that opportunity. They're going up against the 10th best passing offense in the NFL in the Chargers. They're putting up 291 yards per game, and they have also put up 8 touchdowns. So you got a team that's coughed up 8 touchdowns and a team that scored 8 touchdowns within that 3-game period. Number 10 versus number 27, I kind of like my odds with the 10th best offense. All right, and especially with the 27th ranked defense having a lot of injuries. They just lost Sherman as well, on top of the offensive woes with Mr. Garoppolo going down, which is a big blow for San Francisco. But San Francisco, 38 receptions given up to receivers thus far this year, 541 yards and 5 touchdowns, 44.1 DK points to receivers, and 35.8 FanDuel points. In the red zone, opponents have been getting there 4 times per game and scoring 2 touchdowns and a field goal, converting at 66.6% of their opportunities. So I definitely like that number as well. They're going up. The Chargers, on the other hand, offensively, have been able to get in the red zone 3.5 times per game and have scored 2 touchdowns and a field goal pretty much every time they've gone in there. So they're converting at a 70% conversion rate in the red zone. So we're looking at a very good red zone team versus a very poor red zone team. Definitely is a recipe for disaster. Again, keep in mind this game has blowout potential. I still like these guys. I'm still, I like them so much that that's why I'm giving them to you. So I definitely like Mike Williams. I think he's in a favorable position. I love all the receivers, even Keenan Allen, but I'd rather give you guys a nice play here at 6,300 here, and 4,500 on DK is fantastic for Mike Williams. Definitely try to consider him in your lineups. Next guy I'm going to discuss is for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's been pretty hot as of late, and that's Mr. Tyler Boyd, TB. TB is 5,800 here on FanDuel, and he is 4,600 on DraftKings. Now, I like him in both of these sites. I think he's good. This is not a bad price for him here, and I believe that's a pretty good price for him on DK as well. So again, trying to find you some value with an explosive upside, a guy that has playmaking ability. All right, is showing that already. As you can see, he had 7 targets last week, 6 receptions for 132 yards and a touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns in 2 games straight. He's at 18 or better fantasy points in 2 games straight. He has upped his average to 15, so we know he's capable of getting 20. So he has had a total so far, 21 targets, 15 receptions, 249 yards, 83 yards per game, as you can see that here, and 2 TDs. Last week, those are his numbers from last week. Inside the red zone, he's had 2 opportunities. He's at 100%. He's got 2 catches, 21 yards, and a touchdown. And remember, again, this game has the highest implied totals right now at 51. It's going to be definitely a high-scoring game. I really like this game even as a game stack, which I will discuss later in the week. So definitely keep that in mind. You can definitely narrow down 5 plays easily, maybe even 6 out of this game, and it should do fairly well. I really believe this game is going to be in the high 20s. I would not be at all surprised if both teams score 30 or better. All right, so it's definitely a nice matchup. Mr. Boyd is going up against Atlanta. They're 26th ranked pass defense. They've been pretty much giving up 70% completion percentage to the opponent's quarterbacks, 276 yards per game and 6 TDs. They're going up against Cincinnati's 12th. Their 12th best passing defense in the NFL with 275 yards a game. Pretty much the same amount they give up is the amount that Cincinnati puts up. 8 touchdowns a game is the 3rd most in the NFL for Cincinnati's offense. They're definitely getting them in the end zone. All right. Atlanta's coughing up 40.7 fantasy points on DK and 33.1 on FanDuel, 2 receivers. Inside the 20, the opponents are scoring at 81.8% of the time in the red zone. They've been there 3.5 opportunities a game, and they're scoring 3 touchdowns per game. That is crazy. They just cannot shut anybody down when they get inside the 20. Cincinnati's coming in the red zone as an offense, 87.5% conversion. They're basically converting at 87.5% of the time they are in the red zone, and they're going up against a team that gives it up 81% of the time. So it comes to show you this game is going to be really, really close, high scoring. I could see this. I could see Cincinnati getting down in the red zone and getting some scores, and I could see Mr. Boyd getting some touchdowns. Now, let's keep in mind this is all definitely good, Tyler Boyd, especially if AJ Green is out. Now, I think I'll still play him on DK in 1 or 2 lineups because I like the matchup that much that even if they have AJ Green, but if AJ Green is out, he's definitely a very, very good play here. He may be highly owned at that point, so keep that in mind too. But it's nothing wrong with being a little chalky. We can eat the chalk once in a while. All right, so I love this. I love this play here. I think Mr. Tyler Boyd could be someone that will be very nice for us this week. The next guy I'm going to talk about is probably somebody that, you know, I gave you 3 receivers already. My 4th guy is kind of like a sneaky play. I think he has the capabilities. He's another guy, another kid that has playmaking ability. If I can find him here. Give me another moment. Where are you? Well, let's just narrow it down. He's from the Cleveland. He's from the Cleveland team, and we're going to discuss Mr. Antonio Callaway, the rookie. Antonio Callaway, speedster, playmaking ability, and now he's got himself playmaking Baker Mayfield in the backfield. I tell you right now, I told you at the beginning of the year, Cleveland is a pretty decent team with Baker. Now that Baker is actually playing, it's going to get really electrifying here for the Browns. We're going to see how well Baker handles the offense and shows leadership here over the next couple of weeks, but he definitely proved that on Thursday night against my Jets last week. And I was one of those that wanted Baker Mayfield to be a New York Jet. The Jets would have taken him, but unfortunately, the Browns did their homework and they realized they were not going to pass up on this kid. So their time to shine, the Browns with their offense, is going to improve over the next couple of weeks. I really, truly believe so. And Baker Mayfield's going to make it happen. He's going to take advantage of the weapons he's got. He's got this speedster Callaway kid. So I think Callaway is a very sneaky play here this coming weekend. We don't have a whole lot to speak about him about. You know, I mean, he's 4,500 here and he's 4,300 on DK. I like that he's a big playmaking guy. Last week, he had 10 targets when Mayfield came in, actually 11. 4 receptions. Definitely didn't get a whole lot. He had been targeted 11 times, but he only caught 4. I think that's going to improve, obviously, with some practice and being around Baker. 20 yards, 4 points, fantasy points. But I still love the factors that in the 2 games, 7 receptions total, 101 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, playmaking ability. He has had 1 big 47-yard reception. And Oakland is capable of giving up the big plays. They've given up a 50-yarder and a 74-yard pass play thus far this year. That's where I think Callaway can possibly surprise them. So Antonio Callaway is someone to consider. Oakland, you know, 19th in pass defense, 258 yards per game, 6 TDs. They gave up just right now this past week, gave up a massive 434 yards to the Miami Dolphins, of all people, with Ryan Tannehill just last week. Now, granted, like I mentioned before, we got Baker Mayfield in now. Cleveland comes in as not a very good offense as of 3 weeks, but over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I can see that improving. So I'm not gonna judge Cleveland or Antonio Callaway's chances here until I actually see Baker Mayfield play for 3 or 4 games, which I think he's going to be just fine. That offense is going to improve. In the red zone, Oakland has been okay. 50% of the time, opponents have scored on them. They've had 3 opportunities, only getting a touchdown and a field goal. Cleveland comes in. They're 71%. They're converting at 71% in the red zone. They've had 2.5 opportunities per game over the first 3 games, and they're getting in at least 1 TD and 1 field goal per game. So again, not a whole lot to go by other than I like the fact is that Baker Mayfield is an explosive dual threat quarterback with a cannon, with a missile of an arm, quick release, and he's going to have an opportunity here to have a playmaker not only in Landry but also this young kid Antonio Callaway. So I think he's a nice little sneaky play this week for you guys. Antonio Callaway, definitely keep him in mind. A couple of little worthy mentions here. I like Allen Robinson as well. He's in a good situation against Tampa. Tampa has been giving up 71 targets to receivers this year. They have turned over 56 receptions, 595 yards with 5 TDs, and 51.1 DK points and nearly 40 FanDuel points. Those are big numbers. Also, worthy mentions are Adams, Allison, or Cobb. Any one of the 2, or any one of the 3, or 2 out of the 3. you can probably go that route with Green Bay. You should be fine going up against Buffalo. Buffalo, 41 receptions, 537 yards given up to receivers this year, 6 TDs, 46.5 DK points, and 37.6 FanDuel points. And one more team I'm going to discuss, obviously, is watch out for Miami. Miami's playing up against New England. New England's given up 45 receptions, 555 yards, 6 TDs, 45.7 DK points, and 36.9 FanDuel points. They're giving up a lot of points and a lot of yardage thus far this year. 2 receivers. Miami doesn't have anything really to, they don't have a really stud receiver. But Stills, keep an eye on Stills and Mr. Parker. You may have something there with any one of those 2, but I definitely like Robinson. I like Allison, Adams, and Cobb for Green Bay. So that's basically it, man. That's where I'm at. I'm going to review everybody again during the course of the next few days. Like I said on Saturday, I go over everything again. I look over the ones that I have I go in a little bit further, look at those players a little bit more, see if there's any other value plays. And there are a few. There are a few more that I like that I can mention. We can go over those on Saturday as well. You have any questions, you can comment down below. Again, drop a like on the video. I really appreciate it. It definitely helps the channel. And if you're a new subscriber, please subscribe. If you feel the content is of any value to you, definitely subscribe down below. Make sure you put on those post notifications and look for the next video. The next video is going to be the tight end defense video, which will be out tomorrow. And I'm also going to have out tomorrow a video for those who play the single game Thursday night game. So we're going to do that for the first time as well. And then, of course, like I said, we will be back Saturday night for the live show. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. Join the community and let's discuss some football on Saturday night. With that, I say good night. God bless, and I'll see you guys on the next video.